Welcome to the Adventures Beyond the Horizon. This is where we delve into the essence of overlanding, the art of navigating uncharted paths, and the stories forged on the roads less traveled.
I'm Jonathan, and joining me is my co-host Anthony. Together, we'll explore the profound experiences of our journeys, the intricacies of vehicle modifications, and the challenges and triumphs of off-road adventures.
Each episode, we'll share insights of our recent travels, and as well as uncover the deeper connections and transformative moments found in the world of overlanding. Subscribe to stay with us on this journey.
All right, welcome back, adventurers. Today we're gonna cover some stuff that we talked about last week, correcting, something that Anthony was right the first time, but then he corrected himself. What was that about, Anthony?
So whenever I was talking about the Tacoma and their issues, the suspension stuff was correct. It was the strut was still poking through the frame, but the video thing where I said the axle broke, it was actually the diff broke. So the front diff, I guess the gearing kind of didn't do it right. So the front differential broke, not the axle. So it was stuck in two-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm. All right. We got that covered and the correction out of the way. We're going to delve a little more into our Colorado trip. We did surprisingly a deeper dive than I was expecting last week. But this time we're going to go in more in depth of each day and what we did and what we saw. So the first day, we told you that we traveled 3 hours in order to get there. Then the road was long. It was the deserty. First night, we camped on a cliff. It was really cool.
Big canyons and big rocks. And then the one rock, do you remember the name of that special rock we found?
Oh, yeah. We got this great picture. It's called Booty Rock. We were, again, intoxicated, and I just happened to notice that, hey, this rock looks like a booty. And
the most PG term we could possibly come up with.
Yeah, it's a thick booty at that, too. It was really good. And we just, all night staring at it. It's kind of weird, but gosh. We still haven't made our Instagram account. I do apologize for that. So as soon as we get that up, that's going to be one of the first photos that's posted. And
I'm sure by the time that we get all that stuff set up, most people that are listening to it will have it up by then. So it's probably up by the time you're listening to it, viewers or listeners.
All right. Adventurers.
Adventurers.
Let's keep it together, So, as we're getting ready to as we're getting ready to go to bed, the wind started picking up a lot because since we're sleeping on the cliff, and where we were, all the wind was coming into the mountain and just blowing right into our campsite. So, as we were getting ready to go to bed, we're like, okay, cool. All right, we're winding down. Let's go ahead and just tell a couple stories. And then the wind hits, and it's dust frickin' everywhere. And we're like breathing this in. We're like, oh, all right, let's just go to bed. And as we're trying to climb into bed and the wind's picking up, Anthony over here thought he was going to get blown away or slammed in his rooftop tent. You want to explain more on that one?
Whenever we were going to bed, I had all of my window flaps up in my tent, my rooftop tent. And it was just rocking it like crazy. This is like, I don't think this hinge is gonna hold too well. Because my kind of tent, it like folds up like a book. And I thought if the wind blew too hard, it was gonna fold me in half. So I put both the side windows down and the window that, or the flap that was in the back. So I wouldn't catch too much wind blowing up in there. And luckily after that, it wasn't blowing around as much, so it was kind of scary. But luckily for me, my tent was amazing, had no dust inside at the end of the day.
Oh,
Unlike y'all.
Oh, yeah. I had a lot. I don't know about Trevor. I don't think he had a lot, he said. But I woke up many a night, or not many a nights, just many times that night, just like, oh, no, I can't breathe. So I would roll over, put the blanket back on my face. It was warm, but not too warm where I couldn't sleep. And I was already having difficulty breathing out of my nose because of the clog of all of the snot that was built up. So I was breathing in and out of my mouth, and then in the middle of the night, as all the dust is coming, my mouth is drying out, so swig of water, try to roll over and go back to bed. And Henry seemed to be doing fine, but there was a lot of dust. And woke up, I was nearly covered in dirt.
Yeah, luckily for me, I was just sleeping there like a baby, putting in my headphones to kind of drown out the wind noise, and I fell right asleep. And I think I stayed asleep for pretty much the entire night. And then I don't know if it was Trevor. Whenever Trevor woke up and had to go to the bathroom, whenever he saw that quote unquote bear.
Yeah.
But I think that was the only time I woke up was whenever he tried to get in my truck. So, do you want to tell the story? The story that Trevor said?
Yeah. I can let it out because I don't think he told you some of the aspect. So when he got up to go use the restroom, he had to pee. He woke up Henry. When he woke up Henry started barking really loud. I was like, oh, he probably just has to go out. But I heard ruffling around, and I call out for Trevor, and I go, Trevor, is that you? And he goes, yeah, it's me. I'm like, okay, cool.
I do remember that part.
Yeah.
I think that's whenever I woke up,
Yep, and then, so I just let Henry out of the tent, and Henry just starts roaming around, and then I believe this is where he says he claimed to saw the bear.
The shadowy rustling of a bear in the distance.
Yeah. Super unlikely because it was extremely hot during the day. There was like little to no trees. And the trees, we were in like the one area that there were trees. And the trees were small enough to where they're like animals wouldn't be a big of a problem. And yeah, the area was nice. So,
did you hear the cows mooing in the middle of the night though?
No, I didn't hear that. So that's another aspect of what, or not you, about Trevor, what he was hearing too, in the middle of the night.
It was the weirdest crap because I could not figure out for the life of me in the moment what it was, and then the next morning we heard it again, and I think we saw a cow, or we like put it together that it was probably a cow, or we saw it or something. I forget.
Yeah,
but
it was
that was pretty freaky too, just hearing that in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Down the cliff was this entire area is an open ranch, so that's most definitely what we are hearing. It was down at the bottom of the cliff. Also, when we woke up, Henry had one of his favorite toys he was roaming around with. And
Henry almost died.
Yeah. Oh, he almost fell down the cliff. I don't think he would have died. He might have been seriously injured, but.
Well, good luck to us getting down there to find him.
I would have. As soon as he left, I would have gone right after him. But, yeah, no, as soon as he took like 2 steps down the side of the cliff, and he was carrying one of his favorite toys, and we all scream at him, Henry, and he just freaks out, drops the toy, and backs up. And
well, the dirt started giving way too, to where he was starting to slide. That's why it was so dangerous. Just the dirt started making people slide. And that, I think, did you grab him or did he back up?
No, he just backed up. Oh, we were too far to grab him.
Yeah.
We just saw like all the corner of the eye, and he drops his toy, and so that toy is still out there, Mr. Red Squirrely.
And the freaking whenever we were looking down the cliff, so it's not like a straight vertical cliff. It was like It kind of sloped down, and then it dropped off into this like rocky area. But whenever I looked down, remember this? You remember this part? I thought I saw like a red hooded hiker down there, and it was not moving. And I like took a picture of it, tried to zoom in, see what it was, and I could not for the life of me figure it out. but I think we figured out that it was just a stump that made it look like it was a hiker. Or I think you said it looked like a cow. Oh God!
Yeah, it looked like a
I
cow,
think
but
you said it looked like a cow. Yeah.
but it most definitely was not a cow, because it was not moving.
Yeah, it stayed. I saw it the day before, and I was like, "What the heck is that?" And the next morning, I looked down there; it's still the same thing again. So, yeah, it was just a really weird an illusion, right there too. But that campsite was really, really cool. The
was
view
phenomenal.
from
Yeah.
that area, just like the sheer rock faces, the cliffs, and then just kind of like the game we played where we were trying to find the shapes in the rock cliff and the rock face. That was pretty cool too.
Oh yeah, and the shadow as well. There was a lady shadow, a very curvy lady.
Very curvy lady.
I believe we also saw the Mandalorian helmet out
Yeah,
there as well.
the helmet. Yep.
You
Yep,
guys
I
didn't
remember that
believe
one.
me, and then I was like, "It's right here," and I like took a picture, circled it for you guys, and you're like, "Okay, I see it on there, but where is it out there?" I'm like, "I can't describe it other than it's next to the rock."
Yeah, it took a minute. It took a minute for me to find it. I don't. Yeah, it was very obscure for me.
So that was
that was a good
the highlights of the first night. Oh yeah, we could not have a fire in that area. It was way too dry, and even if we did want to have a propane fire, it was way too windy.
Yeah.
By the time we
and
were like, "All right, let's start up."
you have to mention the weird rock formation that we camped by too.
Oh yeah, on the other side behind us, it kind of looked like a large ant colonization, I guess. Which
I would say it looked more like a reef, like a coral reef.
yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? Like it was like smooth on top, but like in between the cracks, it was like big wide open cracks. And then, God, did we ever take a picture of that?
I think I did, but not like directly. I think I took a picture of my truck, and it was in the background.
I know we
Excuse
got
me.
pictures of like us standing on top of it. Maybe we could use that one.
Oh yeah.
So keep a lookout on Instagram for that one. But that was a really cool thing too. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. That's what we
It
were
was-
talking about last week with the muddy rocks.
Yeah, the muddy rocks. Well, that.
Ooh,
So
here's a better description. You guys know how, like, when you go to the beach and you pick up the wet sand and you just let it dribble on top of each other?
yeah. Yep.
Yep. And then
That's
at
a
the
cool
top there were, like, larger rocks, so...
Yeah, that was a otherworldly area.
And night
really
two, we went from desert to forest, and it was a big change from night one to night two, and also night three. So, again, we just went to Vale, and there's a national park trail that we took that was a very common one. While we were driving, we were able to come across a family. They were renting a Jeep. Do you remember that? The Jeep?
It was a Gladiator.
It was like all tricked out, like super off-road.
No roof, no doors, big tires.
Oops.
Cut that part out.
No,
But
that can stay.
That one, those Gladiators can do a lot, but that was overkill for that kind of trail.
It was most definitely over. But, however, when we went to the side trail, I think that Gladiator would have been perfect for it.
I mean, yeah, but even then, that Gladiator was like full on rock crawler, go up rock faces type thing. That was just more of like I would say a medium rocky trail.
Oh yeah, but it still would have chewed it up and swallowed it. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah, especially with those Fox shock suspension. I want that for my truck.
Yeah. So we did mention that it didn't have the doors, but it did have netting. So
Yes, netting as doors, but it had no roof, and then it started raining.
yeah, and we felt so bad, and then like 5 minutes later it stopped. We're like, oh, okay, well, they could have dealt with it for that time.
Still sucks to get rain and water into a rental Jeep.
Well, they're not meant to, but they're designed to be able to withstand that, you know.
Yeah. I
And
don't think I ever marked it on Oh, so the trail we did the first night was called Monument Rock, by the way.
Yep. And so, yeah, we get to the part where we're like, okay, well, we can continue going on what we think is the normal path. And there's a side path that looks a bit more rocky and less traveled. And the start of it, it was a deep puddle, and we're like, well, we'll go out, take a look. This is where Henry gets to have a lot of fun. He got out, saw the puddle, and was like, puddle, and he started dancing in it. Remember?
That one was at the start of the trail, right?
Yep, the start of the trail, right before we went down it.
Yep, I think that was the only thing that deterred a lot of people from going down that trail. Is just because of that mud puddle.
Yep,
and it wasn't even that deep.
It wasn't deep. No, yeah, it was just large.
Yeah,
like my Maverick handled it
to our advantage.
Yeah, thankfully we didn't see anybody else come down that way or really hear anybody else.
It was perfect.
Indeed. So there is that, and as we were getting ready to head down that trail, we ran into some nice folk that were mushroom hunting. Remember?
Foraging for mushrooms. Yes, they were excited about a big mushroom they found. I forget what kind, and I'm not very versed in mushroom types, but it was a big mushroom.
Yeah, it was a big mushroom, and it was the edible one. I think it was like, I think it starts with an M, but I'm not entirely sure.
The one that's coming to my head is whitecap, but I don't think it was a whitecap.
No, it was more brown.
Yeah, I have no clue. But all I remember about them was they were super nice, and they were driving a Tahoe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we saw a lot of weird vehicles. There was an Audi, right? That was behind us. No, it was directly in front of us. They let us pass them, and then we stopped to take a look at the map, and then they just went on ahead, and we eventually caught back up to them. They're like, okay, go on ahead.
Let's clarify, this was not a modified Audi, it was just a regular Audi.
Oh, yeah, no. Like the original trail, any two-wheel drive vehicle could manage, no problem.
Yeah. More like a car camping, like family, non-really camping vehicle.
When we first started going down, we were kind of sad. We were like, oh, there's going to be a lot of people. A lot of great campsites. We did find one, but it was super ant-filled before we got to the trail.
And it was super small, too.
Mm-hmm. And it was right next to the main road, so like all night we would have been hearing people go by.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was trying to avoid, and the campsite we ended up getting was pretty perfect in that aspect because we heard nobody.
Well, we kept hearing a lot of strange noise, but we determined, oh yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, it could have been a skinwalker. Ooh.
Yeah, I remember we kept scaring each other with that. Yep. And then we didn't watch the sun set the first night, but the next morning we woke up at like 4 a.m. to get ready to hike out to watch the sunrise. We were there early enough to watch the sunrise, but we couldn't see this.
We didn't stay long enough for the sun to come over the mountains, though.
Yeah. Well,
but then,
no. I think we did. I think we did get it.
No, we didn't, because like 10 minutes after we got back to the campsite, that's when the sun came over the mountains. I remember that. I remember thinking that distinctly.
Yep. Yeah, we did get a time lapse. It was a pretty good time lapse.
And then Henry kept knocking the phones over.
Mm-hmm.
That was funny.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, no, that was a really good one. I think that was the best view overall on the trip, because it showed so much of the valley and then the mountain peaks and everything. It was just amazing. And then the field that we went up towards, the echo from that was really cool to play with. And that campsite overall, I think, was one of my favorites, even if our campsite itself didn't have a view, but it had the camping in the woods vibe. It had a short hike to a great view, and then just the ability to be alone and separated from everybody, and just be us. That was the big thing for me.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So that overall, that was a really good one for me.
Yep. So we were there for 2 nights, and then second night, I don't think much happened that night.
Other than just trying to scare each other and then smoking the stogies.
Oh yeah, we smoked some stogies, throwing axes. We also found, Trevor specifically found somebody who cut up a bunch of wood, and yeah, I was able to back up my truck and we loaded up all the wood. It was a lot of wood. Like,
if you're the one that cut up all that wood and that was your site, we apologize. It was there
No, we
and it
don't.
was fair game. I apologize, but it was fair game.
I don't. It was
So
fair game.
I half apologize.
I apologize, Nick. Remember we found his water bottle?
Sorry we took your water, Nick.
All right, so moving on to night 4. Night 4 is mostly the day. Day aspect was a lot of fun. The view was great at night 4, but we covered night 4 mostly on the previous. And
So you want to talk more about Leadville?
yeah, Leadville. Leadville was great. There was, the 4th oldest bar or tavern or whatever you want to call it.
It's the second oldest. It's either the first or second oldest saloon in the state of Colorado, and it's 147 years old. Went through I think 3 families, and they had a whole history book in the saloon itself. I forget what it's called though.
I think it's the 4th oldest, but the oldest consecutive open, because the other 3 they shut down and then reopened. This one, or like the other ones shut down, moved, and then reopened. This one is the oldest from start opening to now. And it hasn't been shut down for a long period of time.
Yeah, shoot. What is it called? The legendary Silver Dollar Saloon. That's what it's called.
Silver Dollar Saloon. And
they weren't serving food while we were there, which kind of was unfortunate. But we got a few drinks. I got myself a Coke because I don't like to drink, and then of course go straight to driving. But yeah, I mean it was fine. Trevor got his old was it Jack and Coke or something like that, and then what did you get?
I can't remember. It was some nice like green something. It was.
I think it was one of their signature.
Yeah,
drinks.
It was a signature drink. It was really good. But he had a heavy pour for Trevor's drink, a super heavy pour, and it was like, ugh. If we didn't have to drive, I would have definitely finished it. But we finished up our drink, and then we played shuffleboard for like an hour and a half. And
we played it for that long?
Yeah, we played it. We did play it for a while, or from when
I wouldn't say an hour and a half. But
we
maybe
were there.
like
yeah,
30 minutes.
Yeah, we were there for a long enough time, and then we also walked around town for a little bit. Just took a look here at the visitor center, and
got some ice cream.
Yep, some ice cream. Looked at a few shops.
Yeah, that was a cool town. And then right after that, we went to the old mining sites that were for Leadville, and we kind of drove the roads up around there. It was only like 11 minutes from the town, so it was an easy enough drive. I almost tried to do a deep water crossing.
Yeah,
Definitely did not want to do that because it came up almost to the door, so I was like, I'm good. Backed up, and then we went another way.
And yeah, it was like the road was being overtaken by the pond that was next to it.
Yeah, and that trail that was near there, remember that trail we were like, oh, that'd be cool to do, but it was I think it was like a 4 out of 10 trail. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Maybe not, because I think our walkies were dying at this point.
No, we were standing on the tailing piles, essentially the last place we got out at. And we were looking over this view, and then we looked up the hills, and we saw a trail. We were like, I wonder what trail that is. And I looked it up on my phone, and it was a 4 out of 10. And we were like, we were debating on if we wanted to do it or not, but then we were like, I don't think we have enough time.
Yeah, we didn't have enough time. Yeah, didn't have enough time. I had a headache. Trevor had a headache. And if we didn't have headaches, we probably would have been able to do it with enough time. But in the end, we're like, let's just start heading to camp.
And I'm debating if, I guess, I don't think I'm going to do it tomorrow, but here soon I'm going to get bigger tires on the truck. And then I'm looking into a 2-inch leveling kit for my truck. Once I get those two, I might attempt that trail.
Don't you already have a lift kit?
So it's got a factory 2-inch lift kit on it, but the leveling kit raises up the front of the truck 2 inches because it's at an angle for load capacity. So that's why people put leveling kits on their truck, because the tail end is actually higher than the front end. Because if you put weight in it, then it's gonna be more level, right? And it's not like I'm gonna put a bunch of weight in my truck, so I'm gonna lift the front up 2 inches, and then it'll be more level, which will give me more approach angle, and then I can attempt that trail because I have full underbody armor. So why wouldn't I? Then my truck's pretty capable anyways by itself.
Yep.
So I might attempt that here soon.
Yep. And then we covered most of night 4, like I said earlier, in our previous episode. Yeah, it was a great view, plainy, and it's on our YouTube channel if you want to take a look at a couple pictures. But we're also going to add them to Instagram. So that's on our to-do list.
It's the trail we went to is called Lost Park Road. I've been there like probably 10 times. And the spot that we camped at, I've been wanting to camp there for like a couple months since I started going to that trail. Found that spot and I was like, dang, this would be really cool to camp at. But every time I've gone back there to camp, it's always been taken by like these big RVs, or not RVs, but like campers or something like that, or a big overlanding group, which last time I went, there was actual overlanding group. Like the side of their truck was branded and everything. I don't remember what it was, but I know they were there. But when we camped there, it was, I know you say it was fine, but it was a little bit foggy and it wasn't as clear, which was kind of obscuring the mountain view a little bit, but you could see the silhouette of the mountains. But overall, we had a wide open space, barely any trees around. There were enough trees and close enough in a distance where if we needed to use the bathroom, we could. It got a little bit windy, but not as bad as the first night.
Oh yeah.
And then we played a good bit of frisbee, which was nice. That was a nice place to end the trip on.
It was. Really good I agree. So
we got some good pictures.
Speaking of that trail, have you been stuck anywhere?
Have I been stuck anywhere? Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I went to that trail in winter, and there was some good deep snow there, and I got stuck, and it took me about an hour and a half just to dig myself out of this snowy ditch. Which I actually have a video of that on YouTube. We'll put the link to that in the description. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever really been stuck was when it was snowy, and then I backslid into a ditch on that trail, and that was not fun to get out of.
Yeah, I can't say the same. I haven't been stuck yet. I'm just dreading the day that I'm going to get stuck. However,
go
ahead.
Make sure that you're prepared when it does happen, because you'd rather be prepared and have everything you need rather than not having what you need.
Yep.
And then getting stuck, and you're like, oh crap, I have to call a tow company, which is like $1,000 just to get yourself out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what I was going to say is I haven't been stuck, but I have helped people get out of snowbanks before. I was taking my wife to Leavenworth. It's a Bavarian town, like a Germanish town in Washington, kind of a couple hours away from Seattle. And we were going towards the end of winter, so there was still a lot of snow on the ground, and we were going to go hiking and just kind of like off-roading in general, but couldn't find a good trail, so we just started going down this one that we found. I was like, okay, this one will lead to a decent enough, easy hike for us, and we came across some ladies that looked like they were lost, but not like lost. And they were like, they kind of looked at us and was like, oh, maybe yeah, and we were just driving slowly, and we continued driving, but they didn't say anything. And my wife was like, oh, we should probably ask to see if they need any help. And it turns out they did. They had a front-wheel drive car, and it was stuck in a snowbank.
Ugh.
Yeah, and they were so scared. They were not from town, and they were like, okay, cool. I don't have the equipment I need. However, if we go into town, I can buy some stuff, and we can get you out, no problem. And so that's what we did. We went into town. That's when I got my come along and my tow rope. So at first I was trying to use the come along to get them out, but it was making the car move. However, it wasn't getting them unstuck. So eventually I just hooked up the tow rope and just pulled them all the way out.
Did you have to say, how long did it take you to pull them out? Just in total.
So from actually attempting to start to pull them out, I think like 20 minutes. But it took us, like 20 minutes is a overestimate. Like I hooked everything up and cranked it a couple times and was like, okay, it's moving. Unhook it, had them try to drive it. They got stuck, so I hooked it again, cranked it again, got stuck, and then that's when I just hooked it, the tow rope, and just pulled them out.
Now, a good thing to help people get unstuck, instead of a tow rope, would be a kinetic rope. Have you ever heard of kinetic ropes?
I have heard of them, but I haven't done too much research into it. All right, pause. I'll be right back.
They're much
I'll be right back.
more expensive. Okay. God dang it, John.
All right, kinetic ropes are much more expensive.
Yes. So kinetic ropes are much more expensive than tow ropes, just because of the technology that goes into them. Now, certain ones have a certain load amount that you can put on them, but it gives it more of a kind of like a sudden jolt of kinetic energy when you're trying to pull somebody, instead of like the just flat full power from your truck trying to yank them out. It's really weird. I don't even know how to explain it.
I understand what you're getting at. Like, as you're pulling them, it'll stretch a little, and then it'll give a little extra oomph.
Yeah, like a rubber band, in other words.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so it's supposed to do better than what a tow rope would do, but it is way more expensive, and there's a lot of options, and they can stretch out sometimes, too.
Yeah,
anything really can.
I also want to put out there disclaimer: we're not experts at all. Take everything we say with a grain of salt. We're just two dudes that are like, hey, let's start a podcast, basically, and just talk about our adventures. And we want to hear more adventures from you guys as well. We'll cover more other things as well, like some news that we'll hear, or just like random gear that we've gotten, or gear that we're going to get or recommend that our lowly opinions feel like getting.
We'll give as much information about what we know about the certain thing as we can, but we don't know all of it. So if we do get it wrong, if you want to, you can correct us, but please be nice about it.
Or don't, it's a free world.
Just roast us, just start roasting us like crazy.
Ampersand roast me.
Roast me.
Yeah, so.
All right, what else are we talking about here, John? Do you want to talk about the Hoh River, or you want to talk about Pony Express?
I feel like we'll cover just a little bit on the Hoh River. Just a little bit. We're slowly running out of time the more we talk. So the Hoh River, like the weekend after I get back from the Colorado trip, I get back to work and my buddies are like, all right, let's go camping, let's go hiking, let's go do something out in the woods. And I'm like, all right, sure. And they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna go fishing at the Hoh River for salmon. We're just doing the release if we catch anything. just because it's
Dang,
not
that would've been
quite
cool.
it's not quite salmon season yet. What would have been cool?
Just going camping and then going fishing like that in like a beautiful river. That would have been really cool to do.
Oh yeah, I know. That's what this was. It was us. We wanted to go like out on the riverbank, like park our cars out on the riverbank and camp on the rocks. But there was like a nice little area where we could like set up tents if necessary. But my buddy who has the Renegade, he has the rooftop tent. He just was gonna park like out on the rocks. It would have been really cool. However, when we got there were people already there, unfortunately.
Ah,
Yeah.
that sucks.
So we ended up parking like not even a tenth of a mile down the road. Again, in the woodsy area, and I think that area was better for what it was. It was just me, one of my roommates, and my buddy with the Renegade. His name's Zane, so I can just refer him to as Zane now.
Zane.
Yep. In Zane in the membrane, if you will.
Did y'all catch any fish?
No. We didn't catch anything.
Oh, it's sad.
It was sad only in the fact that we didn't catch anything, but it was still a great time. Eventually, we convinced another one of our good buddies to come out. His name's Michael, and he just drives a Subaru Outback of some sort. I can't quite remember it right now. And
So is the Hoh River in Olympic National Forest, or is it in a different one?
Yep, no, it's in the Olympic National Forest. It's way past Forks. Everybody know what Forks is, right? It's from Twilight. Oh.
Unfortunately, I don't know what Forks is, but yes.
Yep, it's from Twilight. That's where
Team Jacob.
of course you are. That's where they recorded it, and that's where the books are based off of, is Forks. It's just a very small town. We went out, camped in the woods. We shot some BB guns, had a lot of fun, told a couple stories, and we went out to the river. First time
Did
we
you
went
tell
out.
them about our camping trip?
Say again?
Did you talk about our camping trip?
What do you mean our camping trip? The Colorado?
Yeah, the Colorado one.
No. This is still the Hoh River.
I'm saying, did you tell them, the people you were camping with,
yes,
about that trip?
Okay, now I understand. Yes, of course I told them about it. Like, it was a great time. And so yes, on the Hoh River, casting, couldn't really catch anything. The river was moving really quick, and for those who don't know what the Hoh River is, it's spelled H-O-H River, and it's glacial water that comes off the mountain, Hoh Mountain, pretty sure, I think. And
The Hoh Mountain.
yes, there's also a trail. We didn't do the trail just because it takes a while. It looks like it's not actually Hoh Mountain. It's just a couple other trails that go up.
So it's not a Hoh Mountain?
No, it's not a Hoh Mountain. But yes, it's a very salmony river. It's like the super rocky, like river rock kind of river. And it's like super blue. Like I am like looking at it and it's like, oh, this is water. But it's like blue. And
Yeah, it's like that type of water they would put in like a water purification commercial for the bottled water.
mm-hmm.
It's like, this is the river it's coming out of. It's fresh river water.
Yeah, it's like that kind of blue, but with a hint of green.
Oh, side note, you know not to drink certain river water, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know why?
Yeah, it has bacteria and whatnot.
Bacteria, and it could have fecal matter in it. I guess feces and fecal matter is the same thing, but just like little bits of it, which can make you pretty sick.
You know, I'm pretty sure this one doesn't, just because I think a bunch of towns in the area, that's where they get their water from.
I see.
Or at least I've been told.
Well, I mean, you still get animal stuff in there.
Yeah. Either way. So
Either way, use a life straw if you need to, or use a filter.
we didn't We didn't need to. We brought plenty of water. So,
luckily.
Yeah, we walked to the river 2 times that night. The first night we tried to go fishing, but again, didn't catch anything. So we walked back, hung out at the campsite, had a couple drinks. Our buddy Michael showed up. That's when we went back and to show him the river. And we were just hiking along, and he's like, I want to push that log in. We're like, okay, cool.
As a man thing would be.
Yeah, as dudes do, you know. Pushing logs into river to watch it float down. So we pushed that one in.
Push log in river.
We pushed
river, go splash.
And go bye-bye log. We pushed that one in.
Bye-bye log.
We pushed that one in. We leave it be for a little bit. Then we start heading up the river a little more, and we see another log. We're like, let's push this one in too. So we push it in.
Oh my god.
But where we pushed it in, it was kind of in like a side passage that kind of just ended. And since the river was flowing a lot, it just like went in a circle, and it didn't have enough. We couldn't get it out far enough to make it escape and go down the river.
Now, you may get some slack from listeners about disturbing the natural environment.
It was going to happen. It was already on the edge of the water, and we were just like, oh.
So it's just waiting for the next water rush.
Yeah, pretty much.
The river rush to come through.
Yeah, so we were just speeding the process. It was bound to happen eventually.
Eventually.
Oh, no, that was in the morning. We did that one in the morning. Right, because when we pushed the first log in, our buddy Michael, he wanted to ride this log down the river.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he wanted to sit on it. He had his lacrosse stick, and he wanted to use that as a paddle. Let's just say it didn't work out too well, and every time he actually sat up, the log would roll on him. So
that doesn't surprise me. I wonder why.
Yeah, we got it all in recording.
You've got to send me that one. I've got to see.
Yeah, I'll show you.
I've got to see that thing.
And he's trying to paddle with a lacrosse stick. You know, the mesh head.
Yeah, really. That's a great paddle right there. Mm-hmm. It's gonna move a ton of water.
Yep. Oh boy, it was funny all around. We gotta eventually. The log got stuck. But before it got stuck, he actually got trapped in front of it and like rubbed across his chest and like ripped some skin off. Ooh. He wasn't like bleeding profusely. It was just like a couple scratches, but like deep ones.
I mean, it could have been worse than that, though.
It could have. Yeah, he says he's a lightweight, lucky. So he had already had a drink or two at that point.
Yeah, coming up with that kind of weird idea. Yeah, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm. So eventually, it gets stuck, and he sits on it, and he paddles a bit. And, you know, guys being guys, we're like, let's get this log unstuck by throwing rocks at it.
Oh, my God.
River rocks.
Well, that sounded... y'all sound like very smart people. Very, very smart people.
We didn't get it unstuck. We had a lot of fun throwing rocks at it. We made a couple games out of it. We're like, okay, let's see who can get the first rock on there. It was me. I got the first rock on there. There's a little branch on there. Like, okay, let's see.
Congratulations.
Let's see who can hit the branch. It was me. I broke the branch. And then we would just continue throwing rocks at it because we're like, okay, whatever. Sorry. We get it. You're gonna outcompete us. So we were just throwing rocks at it. And eventually, the rock that I landed on there, I hit that rock and knocked it off as well.
Just a bullseye shot.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Some say I got my rocks off on the on the wood on the Hoh River.
My God, that did not land like you wanted it to.
Let me try it again. Some say I got the rocks off on the Hoh.
I don't know if that was any better.
It works a lot better, though.
It was smoother, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, my buddy rode log on the Hoh. I got my rocks off on the Hoh. There's some other more inappropriate ones that we came up with.
Did you swim in the Hoh?
I didn't, but my buddy who rode the wood on the Hoh swam in the Hoh. River, of course.
Yes, the river. That's what we're talking about. Spotify, if you're listening, we're talking about the river. Okay, let's move it along here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see.
I don't think we need to really talk about anything else. I think wraps up about this episode. We could talk about a lot more, but I don't think we need to, and we could save some of these good talking points for next time as well.
We still have to mention, which I have to bring it up, the poll to see if John should buy a Ranger or keep the Maverick. If you would like to contribute to this poll, please go to the very first episode and vote my side, which would be get a Ranger.
Fun fact, I probably won't be able to get a Ranger anymore just because I took it off-roading earlier yesterday, and there was a log that kind of like stuck up into the trail, and I didn't see it, and I was trying to take a corner, and I may or may not have scratched the ever-loving heck out of the car and put a slight dent in it.
Okay, so it did dent the door.
It did dent the door, but I think I can get the dent out.
Well, if you can get the dent out, then you should be fine, but you'd have to get the door repainted, which is not... I mean,
a pretty
it's
penny.
not expensive, but it's not...
Both doors.
I mean, it's just a certain area. It's not like you're having to repaint the entire door, unless that's what they have to do it. But...
Yeah, that's what they usually have to do just because of, like, age and whatnot. It's like the sun changes the color of the car, so if they put the same exact color on, it's going to be... You could tell, like, this area is new.
Well, I would at least look into it, okay?
Or even just
my 2 cents.
Putting a wrap on the door. So
you're gonna put a wrap on your Maverick.
No, I'm just saying could. But there is something funny that I did see on a different car. Somebody had a dent in their bumper. They could probably easily knock it out and be totally fine. Just like reach around and push it out. However, they decided to leave the dent and put a sticker on it. And the sticker is an X of bandages.
A bandage, yeah. I saw something like that similar. I almost did that to my truck, my old truck, because it has a dent right next to the back window. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't noticeable enough to justify doing that. But that is kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But still, I was telling your wife that you could still get a Ranger, but you'd have to pay down that Maverick pretty heavily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think before we move we're going to get anything new. We're just going to definitely keep what we have.
I mean, that's fine. But this is an idea for your next vehicle purchase.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a long time before next vehicle purchase.
Still an idea. By that time, the Ranger should be a lot cheaper. At least the generation we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even a newer one, you know.
Hey, if you can afford a Ranger Maverick...
a Ranger Maverick? What is that?
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Ranger Raptor. Then, hey, get that thing. That thing is epic. Also...
No.
You don't want a Raptor?
No. Not a Ranger Raptor. A Bronco Raptor. If I was to get a Raptor, it'd be the Bronco Raptor.
I mean, one is a truck and one's a SUV, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
They have the same engine,
mm-hmm.
same transmission.
I like the look of the Bronco better.
I mean, yes, the Bronco's good. Yes,
and it's shorter wheelbase. And I could take the roof off and the doors off.
Widthwise is actually wider.
Which is better?
Not in tight trails.
But for rock crawling.
Not if it's a tight space.
But if it's rock crawling, then we're not in tight spaces.
And that's not true either.
Most of the time we're not. Anyway, we're getting off topic. All right, thank you for joining us today of Adventures Beyond the Horizon. We hope you enjoyed journey as much as we did. Today, we recovered Colorado, talked about the Hoh River, and again, covered the pole. We hope you found our stories as inspiring as we did. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast so you never have to miss an adventure. And please, please, don't forget to leave a review. It really helps us out and helps us find other adventures such as yourselves. We'd love to hear about your own overlanding stories or any topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Connect with us on our social media, Instagram, or drop us an email at adventuresbeyondthehorizon16@gmail.com. Stay tuned for our next episode. We'll be diving into some gear that we have and we're thinking about getting. It's going to be an adventure you won't want to miss.
Remember to vote in the poll for the Ranger.
For the Maverick.
Until next time, keep chasing new horizons, stay adventurous, and take care out there.
Peace.
Bye!